One of the greatest scientific minds of the 20th century, Polish-born Marie Curie is the only person to win Nobel Prizes for two different fields of science. Aged only 18, she went to work as a governess to earn money to help her sister Bronya study medicine in Paris. A few years later, Bronya returned the favor and funded Marie's study at the Sorbonne. After topping her master's degree in physics course, Marie was introduced to French scientist Pierre Curie. In Pierre, she found her research soulmate, and the two were married in 1895. Pierre shared Marie's love of experimentation and discovery, and their personal and professional partnership flourished. Marie's investigation of uranium rays yielded the groundbreaking hypothesis that the rays could be an atomic property of uranium, leading to a Nobel Prize in physics. Together, the Curies discovered two new elements on the periodic table: polonium, named for Marie's native country, and radium. In 1906, Pierre was killed in a street accident, and Curie was left with two young daughters to support. However, she spurned an offer of a state pension from the French government, saying she would earn a living through her research. Although it was becoming apparent that radium had a potential lucrative commercial future in medicine, both Marie and Pierre were opposed to profiting from scientific research and believed all their work should be freely available. With the help of philanthropists and government funding, Marie scraped together the funds to build a radium institute to further her research, and she continued to teach at schools and universities. An ill-fated affair with married scientist Paul Langevin led to a media bloodbath, with the press terrorizing Marie and her daughters and worrying Marie into a state of nervous collapse. The desperate needs of wounded soldiers brought Marie out of seclusion during the First World War, and she set up France's first mobile military radiology centers, harvesting radium gas for X-rays from the single gram of uranium she possessed. Her 18-year-old daughter, Irene, trained as a radiological assistant and accompanied her to the battlefront. After the war, Marie traveled to America to raise funds for her institute and inspect the radium refining plant in Pittsburgh that provided her next supply of radium. She was feted by President Warren Harding and received huge support from the press and public. In 1931, the Radiological Society in Paris presented her with a gold medal for her work in science. 3 years later, Marie died from illnesses connected with her constant exposure to radiation, as much of her early work was undertaken before its damaging effects were known. She was buried with husband Pierre in a French cemetery, but 60 years later, the remains were dug up and reinterred with honors in the Pantheon in Paris. Their daughter Irene won a Nobel Prize for chemistry in 1935 for discovering a way of creating artificial radiation, and her own son and daughter also became prominent scientists. Marie Curie's Warsaw birthplace is now a museum documenting her life. Schools, institutes, and universities around the world have been named in her honor, celebrating the scientist who put learning and discovery above everything. As Marie once said, we must not forget that when radium was discovered, no one knew it would prove useful in hospitals. The work was one of pure science, and this is a proof that scientific work must not be considered from the point of view of the direct usefulness of it. It must be done for itself, for the beauty of science. And then there's always the chance that a scientific discovery may become like the radium, a benefit for humanity.
Three, two, one.